some tamarind. Well, some of you call it tamarind, which is the proper pronunciation, and this is what it's going to look like when you buy it. If you're looking for it and you find it at the Asian markets in North America, you want the sweet sour version. There is a sweet sour version and a sweet version. Try to get the sweet sour because you want a bit of tartness. You know, growing up on the islands, I didn't know about the sweet version of this. We only had the sour version, and this is what it's going to look like. Once it's removed from the shell, that's what it's going to look like, but there's seeds in there. We'll get to that in a second, and all you would do is sort of crack them like so, and you're going to remove all of that outer sort of shell, and there's going to be a sort of a fibrous sort of string that runs up the sides of it. This sort of string area here, you want to remove that as well. So what I'm going to do is just pull it back like so. Those fingers looking dry. I need a little coconut oil or lotion or something, boy. Anyhow, that's from doing, I just wash wares, doing dishes, you know what I mean? Boy, how this thing is behaving today, boy. Anyhow, so you'll remove it like that. Then any sort of little pieces of that shell, you want to make sure you remove it, because later on, once we make the sort of tamarind sauce, you don't want to be biting or chewing into any of that, yeah? What we need to do here is, and I'm just going to break this one down and put it in there as well, to sort of rehydrate it, well, not rehydrate it, but to be able to remove the pulp, I'm going in with 3 cups of boiling hot water. And you can see it's just going to start falling off. Well, it's not, you're going to have to go in there in a few minutes. Once that water is cool, what we're going to do is go in with our hands and we're going to massage it to remove all the pulp off the seeds. And that's going to give us the base for this tamarind sauce. And this tamarind sauce is something, if you ever bought doubles, that wicked street food from Trinidad and Tobago, Pholourie, Sahina, any one of those things, this is the sort of sauce you would use with it. Now you can make a thick version of this and put more anchar masala and stuff in there, and that would be called tamarind anchar. This is more, and you know, you can make it more sweet, and then it becomes what is known as sweet sauce. But we're gonna do sweet, savory, spicy kind of combination. And I remember growing up on the islands in Trinidad and Tobago, we would buy this. I can't remember how they would package it, but I remember going to the vendors outside our primary school and high school, and you would buy the sauce, and it would just be a sort of a treat. We'd be, you know, eating away, licking away, just the sauce on its own, tamarind sauce. Not to be confused with tamarind ball, by the way. Allow this to cool down, and then we're going to go in with our fingers and break down the pulp. And the other ingredients we'll be using today, some brown sugar. That's golden brown sugar. If you wanted to use white sugar, totally cool. Dark sugar, totally cool. Garlic, shadow benny, which some of we call culantro or bandania. If you don't have that, you can use cilantro, which is also called coriander. 2 Scotch bonnet peppers, straight out of the garden. We harvested that yesterday. Seeds and everything, because I want that combination of sweet and spicy in there, the herbal note. Of course, some anchar masala and some roasted jeera, which is cumin, which has been ground. So ground roasted jeera. We'll also need a pinch of salt in there as well too, because you know, when you're making stuff, whenever you're cooking, it's always about balance, and salt tends to heighten some of these flavors here. We're not going to go heavy on the salt, but we do need some of that salt. Now, what we need to do is sort of massage, and you're going to see all that pulp is coming out, and there is the seeds. So we're going to rinse, shake that nice pulp off there. Now, when we would buy it as kids in front of the school, part of the treat was getting the seed and being able to, there's a sort of a skin around the seed here that we love to suck on, yeah? But anyhow, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm just going to use my hands and my fingers, the seeds, and with that sort of outer skin, I'm going to remove. I'm going to discard. So any sort of fiber that you find as well, like this baby here, that going in the rubbish, yeah? I'm going to go ahead and do this and make sure I remove everything, and it's all accounted for. It took about 4 or 5 minutes for me to get all of that pulp off into the water. This, and you see, this is the tiny little seeds I was talking about. Also, the sort of skin hasn't been removed on some of them, but this goes into the rubbish. I remember as kids when we would play marbles, this would be the prize, how many tamarind seed you have. Long story, I'll have to explain that one day, but anyhow, what we're going to do now is set this aside for a second, and you notice there's still some little thick pieces of pulp in there. That is cool. What we need to do, and I'm just going to reach over and grab this, I'm going to put the 2 Scotch bonnet pepper, I'm going to give it a rough chop, I'm going to give the garlic a rough chop, and the shadow benny a rough chop as well, with 1/4 cup of water in my magic bullet, and I'm going to blend that, I'm going to blitz it, and then we're going to put everything into a pot, and we're going to simmer it for a little bit, just for all those flavors to combine and come together. Time to press on. So we have the pulp in the pot here on a medium flame. To that, we'll add the anchara masala, and it's a great opportunity for you to head over to your favorite Caribbean store and support them by getting that anchara masala. We'll also go in with the ground roasted jeera. Remember, again, some of you will call it cumin. We've got the brown sugar for balance. We're going to go in with some salt. I may have to go in with a bit more salt depending on how tart the tamarind is after we taste it near the end, but the point is we do need that salt to help amplify some of the flavors that you're seeing in there. And the sort of final ingredient to go in there is that lovely peppery herbal garlic sort of puree paste that we created. Just gonna hit that a quick little rinse because I want to get all of that in there. I'm gonna give that a good stir. It's gonna come up to a boil, then we're gonna let it simmer for a few minutes, and then we're done. You can put it into a sterilized container and save it for when you're making Pholourie, Sahina, doubles, which means if you guys are reading me correctly, you know something else is coming after this. But for now, let's focus on this wicked tamarind sauce that we're making here. It's smelling incredible already, boy, and it's already taking me back to being 7-8 years old, running outside Hamley Hall Presbyterian School in Marbella, their Union Hall Marbella, at recess and at lunchtime, having a little 25 cents or 10 cents or whatever, and you gain oh, it used to be in a little plastic bag. That was, yeah man, it used to be in a little plastic bag. Am I correct? I think so. Anyhow, we're bringing this up to a boil. As it comes up to a boil there, I don't know if I said it earlier, but one of the things I wanted to mention, when I was removing the pulp off the tamarind, I remember a while back when I shared a recipe for making tamarind juice, someone commented that it looked like human feces, like poop. And you know, while there are some things you can say and you're allowed to say, and you know, my thing is not because you can say something, it doesn't need to be said. We can all see it. There's no reason to add vulgarity to someone's culture, their food and stuff like that. So while it is truthful, sometimes it just don't need to be said. You know, you can just leave it alone. Let this, gosh man, why was this so? But anyhow, we're bringing that up to a boil, simmer, and we're gonna let it cook for about 5 minutes or so. Sup soldiers? Listen, if you enjoy this recipe, I'd really appreciate it if you hit subscribe and click that bell notification thing. If you've made the recipe, take a picture and send it to me, email address down here. I'm really trying to tell people the email address, them butts will take the address and do all kind of thing with it. And tag me on Instagram at Caribbean Pod. I really appreciate you guys, and thanks for being in my kitchen with me today. Irie. It's been going now for about 10 minutes, and you can see it's starting to reduce, starting to get thick. If you want this a lot thicker, you can cook it longer. I'm going to shut the stove off. The residual heat in this clay pot is going to further thicken it up, and as it cools down, it will thicken up. The reason why I allowed it to go for about 10 minutes, you can stop it at the 5-minute mark, is because I really want to cook out the rawness out of the cumin, well, the jeera and the anchara masala. Additionally, you would see some big pieces of garlic in here. I like getting those little surprises, so I want to make sure that it's nice and tender for when I'm eating my Pholourie or whatever. To have those big chunks of garlic, the big pieces of pepper. If you wanted to chop everything, you don't need to put it into a food processor. You can give it all a fine chop to your own liking. If you wanted to finish here now with some more of that shadow benny, you can. And again, remember, if you can't get shadow benny, which is also called culantro, you can use cilantro, which is also called coriander. Shut off the stove. There you go. Tamarind sauce, as if you were eating doubles or Sahina, Pholourie, aloo pie, whatever it is. I have some stuff coming up soon. You guys are going to be quite impressed. Anyhow, we get an opportunity to make it. Well, by the way, you saw me break down the tamarind, but you can, if you go to the Mexican stores, the Central American stores, some of the Vietnamese and Thai stores, grocery stores, I mean, you can find the Asian markets, the big Chinese Asian markets, they all have it. And it is a bit of a cube. It would be maybe about this big square and about an inch or two thick. And it's going to be pure tamarind pulp. You can use that as well. You'll still need to add hot water to it, but you don't need to remove the shell and the skin and the fibers and all those things. So check that out. Irie, let me tell you a little stir again. Now let's look at that luscious, beautiful tamarind sauce. They're taking me back. The smell, boy. Oh yeah, taste it and adjust the salt too now. Oh gosh, I have to tell you everything every time. So yeah, taste that and adjust that salt if you need to. Let's look at that. Proper things, yeah.